These cars were, for the most part, ridden hard and put away wet.
Got it.
And then they fell out of favor.
We're going to find some boost, I think.
Yeah. Just keep the revs up and it zips along.
So here I am driving around perhaps one of the coolest neighborhoods in Brooklyn, perhaps in the whole of New York City, some may say. They call it Bushwick, home to some world famous street art and still a very industrial neighborhood. A bunch of hipsters roaming around on city bikes, a bunch of tourists snapping selfies in front of the world famous Biggie mural on the wall, and then of course all the cement trucks, food trucks, forklift trucks going backwards down a one-way street the wrong way. So you certainly have to have eyes in the back of your head to navigate your way through the mean streets of Bushwick. But I have to say, from behind the seat of the 1974 Saab 99 with the EMS badge on the front, it's actually a lot of fun. Apparently the EMS stands for Extra Manual Special. I thought it was, even more Saab, but apparently it signifies some form of Bosch fuel injection, making the performance just a little bit more peppy. So the car certainly handles well. It's only a 4-banger 2-liter. The performance by today's standards, I would say, is adequately brisk. The car feels light though. The steering is direct. The brakes don't stop as good as I think they should, but that's just a minor point. This car is now owned by a man named Mark who runs Zurich Classic Motors. If you're going to build a temple to Saab anywhere outside of Sweden, you could do worse than Gowanus, Brooklyn. It's a place for bold, colorful people with hipster visions. Like Gowanus, the name Zurich Classic Motors is also outside of the norm, but it's a tribute to Mark's mother, so I'm willing to forgive him the geographical inaccuracy. So Mark, this is obviously the Saab capital of Gowanus. Saab was an airplane company manufacturing aircraft, right?
That's correct.
What does Saab actually mean, the name?
They were manufacturing planes starting in 1937. The name is Swedish Aeroplane, and AB is limited. Okay. That means corporation. So
got it.
Swedish Aeroplane AB, Saab.
Out of all of them, which one's your favorite?
It's hard to say. It changes from
Depending
day
where
to
you're
day. The SPG's the pinnacle of the 900. This was the first year.
Okay.
And that's sort of getting towards the end. That's a 90. They stopped with the SPG in 91. I'm really partial to this car right now.
This has got the opera window, right?
The opera window, which only came into America for 2 years.
So this is kind of a holy grail car.
Absolutely.
The thinking man's way to stand out in a crowd of other European car owners, I guess.
Well, they were really sought after by people in the design field who understood all the engineering that went into them. That's another thing that brings delight, is these cars are over-engineered, overbuilt, not in a complicated way that costs you money, just in a very thoughtful way. The thing about Saabs is that they did it out of love, which is kind of, you don't see that in the automotive industry because everything's profit-driven. They were really doing things differently, and people that took the time to research them really appreciated that. And it wasn't the mass audience, but it was good enough.
I've got a little errand to run. I haven't driven an SPG in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Well, you want to come with me?
Sure, of course.
All right, let's go do it. So 2-liter turbo, 175 horsepower.
195 foot-pounds of torque. With a little bit of adjustment, you can get these up, another 10, 15 without really.
Is this car modified at all?
It's not modified a bit.
So it's stock.
It's super stock.
So it's a 1990 900 SPG.
Right.
Special Performance Group. Is that what it stands for?
Yes, they called them Aero in Europe, but GM actually, who was a part of Saab at the time, owned the name rights in North America. I think they did like an Oldsmobile Aero, so they wouldn't let them use Aero, so they called it SPG Special Performance Group.
Got it. What year did this SPG model come out?
They started doing this in 1985 when they were still a flat nose, and they took it to 91. They mostly did them in black and gray.
What color is this?
This is Talladega Red.
So what is your story with Talladega Red?
Well, they did the long run at Talladega. The long run was a marketing ploy to show how robust the Saabs were right off the showroom floor. They took 3 9,000s, bone stock, and got professional drivers, and they went to the Talladega Speedway in Alabama. And they ran these things for 21 days.
21 days?
Yeah, like for 3 weeks, change the tires, change the gas, change the drivers. At an average speed of 132 miles an hour.
That's 132 miles an hour for 21 days.
And they had all these records, endurance records, world records, some of them that still stand. And then they went back years later with the second gen 900 and did the same thing.
This is obviously show quality. It does not resemble 102,000 miles. Give me the range from one that's beat up, that's been abused, unlike this one.
You can find SPGs that have a lot of miles on them, rust, flattened, cracked seats, cracked dashes.
Yeah.
You can find them well under $10,000.
What is a high mileage SPG then? This has got 100,000 miles on it. What is a high mileage?
Well, they're like 200 plus. I've seen them with 300,000 on them because they're robust.
Yeah.
These cars were for the most part ridden hard and put away wet.
Got it.
And then they fell out of favor.
We're going to find some boost, I think.
Yeah. Just keep the revs up and it zips along. So there's there's not a lot of them out there. There's certainly not a lot of red ones out there.
Talladega red
but,
one.
The dashes now are selling for over $1,000. And they all have cracked dashes. And the this, and the that, and the seats. And you can't find some of the good interior. This is how I always look at this. I find them without rust and with good interiors. You can pretty much fix the rest.
Well, just hold that thought. I got to pop in here real quick.
Okay.
And just pick something up. So I'll be a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So there's nothing more IKEA and Swedish like than a bunch of meatballs. So I say we take advantage of this awesome view and we
get some dinner.
Fry up ourselves a couple of meatballs. I'll tell you something, Mark, this is the life. We got the Saab SPG, we got the meatballs, and we got the Manhattan skyline. You don't get much better than that for me.
Absolutely.
So thanks for your time today, and I'm just going to save that moment.
Appreciate it.